which was Dom Giordano's big event here in our area. But just within the past 40 minutes, Don Jr. posting, you know what's getting really old? Having to have conversations with my 5 young children about radical leftists trying to kill their grandfather. No person should ever have to do this in America or anywhere else. And yet I have had to have that conversation 5 times again yesterday, and already viewed by by a quarter million. What is it? No, by 4,000 people retweeted it, 20,000 reacting to it, and yeah, quarter million views already, and that was in the past 40 minutes. So Don Jr. getting a lot of love over here. But this is an incredible situation, the way it's being reported. So moving forward, I do want to get into that, my take on having worked in the media, and you know my story. I mean, somebody who, as an 8-year-old kid, I thought, what a difference a person could make. We had a family friend who worked for a newspaper and talked about being a journalist and how this is part of democracy and all of that. And I really believed in that. And to see what's happening is, to me, it's a disgrace. But the way it's being reported and just in general, we've talked about this, and it's frustrating. I know you're frustrated. We can vent about it and share some thoughts on it. Moving forward, I will share. We have a great interview coming up with Linda Kearns, who's going to talk about protect the vote and what's going on today, September 16th. We've heard this date for a long time now, that early voting would begin today. So we'll talk about that. If you haven't gotten your mail-in ballot in the mail yet and you requested one, don't panic. Linda will be along any moment, and she will explain the process, what's going on. And it's everything. There's nothing nefarious. There was a court ruling just Friday, and we'll go through it with Linda. But I just want you to know that one. Let me give you the highlights of the case, and just in case you were away this weekend and you didn't hear everything, that the FBI says it is investigating. They've confirmed this, another possible assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. So many of you saying, why didn't he get the security that former presidents get, or that current presidents get? That would help things out because he's a candidate, he's a former president. So many calls to just beef up the security around the former president, who is also in a unique situation because he is a candidate, right? So it's that duality that we haven't seen as many times in modern times, and certainly not with social media and with everything going on. So authorities do confirm they recovered the rifle that a gunman allegedly, I have to say allegedly, but that he apparently allegedly pointed into a Florida golf course where Republican presidential nominee and former President Trump was playing yesterday. Now, a lot of you are questioning this, saying, well, how many people actually knew that he was going to be golfing? And how is this possible? These are all the questions. Also, that this guy, according to the authorities, they have a whole list of things this guy had, including a GoPro camera, so that they're saying that he was planning to, during the shooting, that he would record the entire thing, post the entire thing. And then looking at his social media accounts, that's disturbing as well. So authorities believe the suspected gunman did not use an AR-style rifle. That's one of the things that they're saying this morning. So we'll talk about all of it, and then we'll follow that up with what's going on as far as the investigation and the answers for what happened here in Pennsylvania, in Butler, PA, and that was July 13th. An incredible, fast-moving, my goodness, you look at 9 weeks and the news cycle. I don't even think we have 6-hour news cycles anymore. It's just hour by hour. And you think of the news last week, even Friday, to today, and all of the stories that I was reporting on you Friday, and I'll try to update them in a fast-paced manner, but it just never gets old. And so we want to keep in touch with the follow-ups. That's important too. And it's something that sometimes allows the media to not follow up, and that's not right either. So I will always give you the follow-ups. Let's get to Linda, who I introduced to you as well. Protectthevote.com. Linda Kearns, thank you so much for joining me this morning. How are you?
Dawn, thank you for having me on. And, I'm wondering, do you ever sleep? Because you sent me an email last night. I think it was 10 o'clock. And I thought, why is this woman not asleep? She has to get up in a few hours.
You know what? It's true. I just, my husband Larry's lately, he's like, she's a vampire. I think I'm just so fired up with everything that's breaking, that's happening. And then on top of it, Linda, my kids and football and the fall season. And so, I don't know, maybe November 6th. I don't know. So at some point, I'll just catch up on the sleep, but not today.
Well, we at the Republican National Committee are not getting a lot of sleep either. So
I know you're not.
We're pretty much working around the clock too.
Yeah, and my goodness, I'm thinking about the fact that you're talking about Can you take us through first of all what happened on Friday, the latest? With the litigation back and forth in court. What happened late Friday?
Sure. So the Democrats and Democratic-aligned groups have been trying to attack the statute in Pennsylvania that says that you must fill out, date, and sign your mail ballot. That's what the statute says. Fill out, date, and sign. It couldn't be clearer. And the democratically aligned groups in the Democratic Party, they've been attacking that. They just want these ballots accepted without any dates on them. And this latest attack was from, there was several Democratic aligned groups, leftist groups, led by the Black Political Empowerment Project, and they sued just two counties, Philadelphia County and Allegheny County, and said, you should not have to date a ballot. It's unconstitutional. And they also sued Al Schmidt. Now, unfortunately, unlike other lawsuits, Al Schmidt said, yeah, okay, fine, don't date the ballot. I mean, he was pretty much aligned with the plaintiffs, and Philadelphia and Allegheny really just didn't like respond or didn't really, take a position. So the problem here is they are asking for relief to apply to all 67 counties in Pennsylvania, yet only included 2 counties in the lawsuit. So what had happened was at the appellate level, the appellate judge said, yes, it's unconstitutional to require you to date a ballot. But when it went up to the Supreme Court said dismissed it on the basis that they had not joined all of the necessary parties. They had not included all of the other counties. So it was dismissed on that reason. So now we are back to, yes, you must date a ballot.
Yeah, I get a kick out of the way, and I always have to look at the media coverage. The media will say, even though this was bipartisan, it was passed as law and took bipartisan support, but Republicans have fought this. And, Governor, so.
Right. Well,
it's an irony there.
Right. And the reason this lawsuit went up to the Supreme Court is because the Republican National Committee and the Republican Party of Pennsylvania intervened and said, wait a minute, the law says fill out, date, and sign. So the Republican Party are the ones on the side of what's in the statute. It's these leftist groups that are trying to say that you shouldn't have to date a ballot, that you should ignore what's in the statute. So, yeah, I mean, I get incredibly frustrated by how these things are reported in the media. So right now, yes, you have to date your ballot, and that is a win for election integrity. So that is absolutely good news. And I do want the voters to know how hard we are fighting.
Yes. And, you've been called the go-to person as far as elections, and you're an attorney as well, but the go-to expert. I know publicinterestlegal.org had written about you. You're the go-to expert on all things right and wrong with Pennsylvania elections. And so take me through as far as protectthevote.com, what you want people to know, because some people might say, well, wait a minute, I requested the mail-in ballot. Linda Kearns is saying, go ahead and vote. You can trust to vote by mail, but why isn't it in the mail? Why haven't I received it yet, Linda?
Sure. Okay. So my role, my title is Pennsylvania Election Integrity Counsel for the Republican National Committee. So I'm the attorney in Pennsylvania that's kind of overseeing this election integrity program from a legal perspective, but we have a great staff at the RNC here in Pennsylvania, the best staff I've ever worked with in my entire career. ProtectTheVote.com is our website to collect information for people who want to poll watch or be poll workers or attorneys who want to help. So any one of your listeners needs to just go to protectthevote.com and sign up. You will be contacted. You will be notified of when we are having our trainings. We have webinars. We have them in person, and then you will be trained in order to be a poll watcher or a poll worker. The statute says that 50 days prior to an election is the earliest time that a county can begin mailing out mail ballots, and that's today. However, that no ballots are going out today, and it's a very simple reason. That is because we're not sure yet who is going to be on the ballot, and the reason that we're not sure is because when some of these third-party candidates try to get on the ballot, interest groups sue to get them off. So there was a candidate, her name was Claudia de la Cruz, and she was from the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So she wanted to be on the ballot in Pennsylvania as a presidential candidate. Democratic-aligned groups sued to get her off the ballot. The Supreme Court just made the decision on Friday that she will not be on the ballot. So because that decision was just made, there's no way anyone could print a ballot because we didn't know who was going to be on it. The Supreme Court also decided that a Constitution Party candidate would not be on the ballot. And these were for reasons regarding the paperwork involved in getting on the ballot, which, by the way, is a little bit ironic. When Democrats sue to get people off the ballot because they didn't fill out the paperwork correctly, yet they're suing to say, hey, don't date the mail ballot. So sometimes they want the paperwork done correctly, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and a lot of people, we haven't talked a lot about this, but tomorrow there are special elections, right? For
yes.
Go ahead.
In Philadelphia, right. We have I think it's two Pennsylvania House seats that are up for election. So it doesn't involve very many voters. And unfortunately, this is Philadelphia. I don't believe we have a Republican on the ballot. So it's two Democrats running unopposed, but it is an election. And believe it or not, I'm going to have some observers there watching the mail ballot counting, even though we don't have any, candidates on the ballot. And that's because I represent the voters too. Like, I am here to make sure that this is a free and fair election for the voters. And the voters are going to go, and some may write in candidates other than the Democratic candidates. So we will have some people there tomorrow just to observe watching the mail ballot opening.
Linda, what do you say to the person who says, I just don't believe in elections anymore, that people have lost faith in our elections because of a lack of transparency or post-pandemic, whatever that may be? What do you say to that voter?
Right. I am actually getting that question a little more frequently now. And first of all, what I say is we are privileged to be citizens of this country, and we have the right to vote, and people have died for that right to vote. So I personally vote in every election, even if there is no Republican on the ballot. I'm there every primary, every general, every year. It doesn't matter what kind of election it is. I'm there to exercise my right to vote. So if you're just going to say, well, I'm just not going to do it, I don't think that that's very patriotic to begin with. And second of all, I cannot assure you your vote's going to count if you don't even cast it. So if you don't want your vote to count, sure, don't show up. But we need here in Pennsylvania every Republican voter, every independent voter who thinks in a conservative fashion, every Democrat who realizes that we need President Trump in office to show up to vote, because this is the type of election that's going to be won on the margins, meaning it's not going to be it's not going to be a landslide most likely, and we need everyone to show up. And when the mail ballots are ready, which they're predicting will probably be next week, if you vote by mail early, then you're actually helping President Trump twice. President Trump, who is literally taking bullets for us. He's literally taking bullets for us. So how do we help him? We, first of all, get our mail ballot in early, and then we at the Republican National Committee, we don't have to spend resources calling you, texting you, reminding you to vote. We can move on to the next voter. So you're actually helping President Trump twice, because you're getting your vote in and you're freeing up resources to get other voters. So that's what I say to people who say, I don't trust the process. I don't want to hear it at this point. We have someone who's taking bullets for us. Let's show up for him.
And so when can voters here in Pennsylvania expect to get that mail-in ballot they've requested in the mail?
We think we think they're going to start going out next week, only because there's one Supreme Court case that's still swirling around. A man named Cornel West wanted to try to get on the ballot. Apparently there was problems with his paperwork, and as of this morning, I didn't see that they made a decision on him. So they have to tie that up. Then once that's resolved, then they'll print the ballots and start sending them out. And when they are ready, you don't necessarily have to put your ballot in the mail. You can either take the ballot that they send you and walk, go to your elections office. I live in Philadelphia, so I can go to City Hall and actually hand it back in so that it never hits a mailbox. And if you don't want them to mail it to you, you can do the same process. You can go to your Board of Elections office wherever you live. So you just Google Board of Elections, go to that office, say, I'm here to vote by mail. That's what we call early in-person mail voting. Say, I'm here to vote. They will actually print out your mail ballot. They'll hand you the mail ballot, the secrecy envelope, the outside envelope. You fill it out right there. You seal it up in the secrecy envelope. You date the outside, you sign the outside, and you hand it back to them. So it really never has to hit the mail if you don't want it to.
That's great advice. My final question, Linda Kearns, as far as the media, helpful, not helpful, I'm looking at NBC News site, and I don't even think this is a local site. I think this is the national NBC News site, and they refer to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and they call it a bureaucratic requirements. The Pennsylvania's bureaucratic requirements of ballots in PA have long been subject to litigation, with opponents of these date requirements arguing they are unnecessarily disenfranchising eligible voters. I mean, that first of all, that's a word salad of a sentence. It's, but that's the kind of, that's the way that they're reporting it. What do you think of either the local media, the national media, the way they report it? And are they complicit, or do they have responsibility to report this in a way that's just a little more objective?
Right. Well, that's why I'm thankful for talk radio stations like yours, because you really get the word out. And you sometimes have people on there that disagree with you, and then we have really good conversations about it. So I'm really grateful for talk radio stations like yours. But I have a lot of problem with what's put in what we call the mainstream media. I was interviewed by a so-called mainstream media print reporter the other day, and he said, well, don't you think it's a problem that Republicans always want the poison pill of he said the poison pill of voter ID when they're trying to pass election bills? And I said, well, that's your perspective, that's your narrative, that's a poison pill. But according to surveys, the majority of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, other parties, independents, they want voter ID. So with you coming at me with that question of just calling it a poison pill, then, I don't think that you are approaching that narrative correctly. And perhaps if you reported it in a different way, then people would be able to make up their own minds. And I don't think that some of these print reporters are used to having people,
good for you,
answer them back. But I continue to do that. And I talk, as much as I can to get the word out. And again, I'm going to ask your listeners, please go to protectthevote.com. I know that I'm on the station all the time talking about it. I talked about it so much. My brother and sister-in-law finally signed up and got trained because they said, please stop asking us. So maybe that's where I am now, just begging people. Maybe we can say, okay, Linda won't be on WPHT anymore as long as everyone signs up. I mean, if that's the promise that we need to make, we won't play Elvis on WPHT if we get enough volunteers. So any promise that I need to make to get people to to sign up, because I need help. We have 67 counties in Pennsylvania, and we know, especially where we live here in southeastern Pennsylvania, there's a lot of focus on us, and I need people to protect the vote. I need them to poll watch. I need them to watch at the canvas. We need them at TrumpForce47.com. That's where you work now to make calls to people to make sure they show up. So we need help. Donald Trump needs your help. Again, Donald Trump's the man who is taking bullets for us, needs our help, and I think that we can all step up and do it. ProtectTheVote.com.
ProtectTheVote.com. Linda Kearns, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn.
Take care. I love her Elvis choices, so I want to keep those coming, but maybe for Greg Stocker, he'll even sign up for ProtectTheVote.com. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210, the number to call. We do have a couple of breaking news updates and the latest with this accused suspect in the apparently second assassination attempt on the life of one Donald J. Trump, an incredible, fast-moving 24 hours, not even. So we'll take you through that, give you the latest, what's happening in court today, and the latest that we're learning, and what some lawmakers are calling for this morning. We'll take you through all of it. Thanks for being here this Monday morning, September 16th. Be right back.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Roofing or siding issues? Don't wait. Call Emmons Roofing and Siding.
We provide comprehensive roofing and siding services with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. And our warranties ensure peace of mind for you and your family.
Protect your home with the best warranties available in the industry.
Call Emmons at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
To inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Weather can be unpredictable nowadays, but your local news station on the free Odyssey app has got you covered. Whether you need an umbrella, windbreaker, or an extra layer, or two, we'll let you know. Download the free Odyssey app and search for your local news station to listen on your smartphone or ask your smart speaker to play it before you head out the door. Download the free Odyssey app and search for your local news station. That's AUDACY.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are having two fabulous back-to-school specials. The 2024 S60 front-wheel drive sedan and the exciting electric C40 each can be leased for 36 months for $369. Due at inception would be a down payment and taxes and registration fees. But in New Jersey, this C40 has no tax. The $369 is an incredible payment on each of these Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo. Our team would be honored to partner with you.
Calling on Levittown. Hello there. To follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So fast-moving developments with the FBI confirming that the FBI agents are investigating what they call little Elvis there. Thank you, Jimmy Kelly, for playing a little Elvis in honor of our own great Linda Kearns. FBI investigating an apparent second attempted assassination of former President Donald J. Trump at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, yesterday early afternoon. About 2 months after a gunman opened fire on Trump at that huge political rally in Butler, PA, July 13th, and that remains under investigation. So the suspect taken into custody, ID'd as Ryan Ruth, 58 years old. We're told that he was hiding in the bushes, pointed a rifle with a scope at Trump, who was 400 or less yards away. That, according to officials, although we're supposed to get new information today. So I know that we will get updated information, and in court, we'll learn when they go to court to hold this suspect. We'll learn a lot more. Secret Service reportedly spotted this person, opened fire, and then that was before Ruth fled, according to authorities, was later arrested. He also had a GoPro camera, as I said, and a backpack with ceramic tiles when he was near the course, that according to authorities. So one thing we know about Ruth, that people were looking at his social media accounts, and it was widely, you can look it up yourself, but at one point he had posted that democracy is on the ballot. We cannot lose. Well, doesn't that sound familiar? This is what Ruth had posted on social media. Democracy's on the ballot. We cannot lose. That's rhetoric, right? That's in campaign rhetoric. This is what the Democrats constantly say. And so maybe we should have a conversation about, that words are weapons. Isn't that what the left always says? Words are weapons. Be careful. What about all these ads? So moving forward today, I know I'm up against another break, but we'll think about this. What is the media saying? Of course, the so-called mainstream media, they're probably calling for ads to say, take a second look, maybe to try to, tamp down all the rhetoric in the campaign ads for everybody. But let's be honest here. The left in those ads, if you look at those ads, they're basically saying Trump is a danger to democracy. Scary, danger, right? Democracy is on the line. You could probably recite some of these ads. And so, I'm sure the mainstream media is calling upon them to, maybe just take it easy on the rhetoric. Well, wait until you hear what they're saying. So we'll go through that. Now, Ruth, as far as the suspect, we're told, has a lengthy criminal record from North Carolina, among other places, frequently posting about politics, and reportedly was donating to candidates who are Democrats over the years and causes supported by the left. That's the report. Even though at one point he had claimed that he voted for Trump in 2016, did not vote for him in 2020. That's one of the claims. So we'll get through and we'll learn more about him when he goes to court today. And like I say, former President Trump thanking Secret Service, thanking the Florida authorities on what ended up being an interesting day. We'll also get to Mrs. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, speaking out again, not about this, but over the weekend, actually Saturday, posting another video. So what's she talking about? We'll get into it. Court records show, as far as this suspect, Ruth, he has more than 100 criminal counts that have been filed against him previously. So he is no stranger to trouble with the law. And we'll get into the fact that he was in Ukraine trying to recruit people to fight in support of Ukraine against Russia. What's up with this guy? And by the way, who pays for all these trips that he's taking? I mean, he's in the South. He's a Hawaii resident now, pretty expensive to live there. Had all these trips overseas. What's going on with this guy? So we'll get to that. We'll also talk about locally. It's going to be mayhem. They're calling it the Motorcade Mayhem this afternoon. Just a heads up, the president is in town. I'm talking about Joe Biden. He will be here to speak at a convention that's happening today for Joe Biden. He's speaking between 1 and 4, a lot of road closures. So if you're lucky enough to have tickets to our Eagles home opener today, you want to make sure you get here nice and early because there are a lot of road closures because of all the politicking and the president in town today. And it coincides, of course, with our home opener tonight. So we'll talk about all of that. Get your take. 855-839-1210, the number to call. I have to take a quick break. We're right at the bottom of the hour. We'll have more information for you, new details coming right up.
Discover the all-new 2024 Tacoma at Tri-County Toyota. Right now, get rates as low as 4.99% for 60 months or choose 5.99% for 72 months. Experience the trail-dominating power, legendary capability, and captivating style of the redesigned Tacoma. Tri-County Toyota is easy to find off the Limerick exit of 422. Visit TriCountyToyota.com today for more details. And don't forget, when you buy from Tri-County, you get Tri-County for life.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano with an easy question. How are your cholesterol levels? Managing healthy cholesterol is a key to a strong heart and overall wellness. For over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted ally in helping people reach their cholesterol goals. I've counted on Rescue for years, and with good reason. Their range of supplements designed to meet your specific needs, from omega-3s to red yeast rice and more. Take charge of your heart health today. Use the code DROP at checkout to double your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Remember to use the code DROP to buy one, get one free on Rescue Cholesterol products. Double up your cholesterol support today. Use the code DROP at res-q.com.
What's on the menu for football season? Pork, of course. Get ready for game day with Hatfield and put some pork on your fork. Elevate your kickoff cuisine in halftime feast with Hatfield's winning lineup of marinated pork tenderloins, pork loin fillets, ground pork and sausage, bacon and ham. Whether you're the tailgate king or gridiron gourmet, Hatfield helps you savor the taste of victory. Visit simplyhatfield.com for play-by-play menu inspiration. Find your flavor with Hatfield.
Tonight, 7:40 Phillies Brewers game can be heard on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Phillies are on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tonight.
Inflation, recession, interest rates, the Fed. How do you make sense of it all? Join Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So a couple of things. We know that just minutes ago, the suspect in the Trump assassination attempt, Ryan Ruth, appeared in federal court, is appearing in federal court in shackles. And so we'll be able to get more information because, of course, when you're in court covering something like this, they have to, convince a judge as to why they want to hold somebody, deny bail, that sort of thing. Usually they will say this person's a flight risk, etc. And so we'll learn more as far as what the prosecution team is saying about the suspect, Ryan Ruth. He's 58 years old, but he was wearing dark prison scrubs, his hands and feet shackled ahead of his court appearance. According to the reporting here, federal prosecutors have not yet said which charges Ruth faces. So we want to hear what the charges are. What do they have on this guy? They're going to throw the book at him, no doubt, because they want to make sure that they can keep him in jail without bail. And so they'll go through his past, his criminal past, the allegations against him. And did he confess at all? For example, when they pulled him over, they've described his demeanor, but did he confess to anything? Did he talk about Trump? Did he threaten anything? All of that is relevant in this first court appearance there in Florida. So we'll get into all of that, and definitely we'll take you through what he was saying and what the prosecutors are saying or alleging that this suspect was saying about Trump, his motives, because we don't officially have that. So thank God, former President Trump is doing well. He is safe, and he had put that out there yesterday. I know you know that already, but I have to report it just in case somebody's just tuning in. I also love all the comments that people are saying, where's Zioli? He's too quiet on this. You know what? Rich Zioli, he's saving it all for 3 o'clock this afternoon. All right already? But I will say this, that something that was weird, if you look at Time Magazine, the cover, and I know this had gone viral, that it was kind of weird to me that Time Magazine had featured former President Trump on the cover wearing like a white golf shirt, which he often wears. And it's kind of weird that they put that out there and showed that he was stuck on a golf course and had like a political cartoon, if you will. They put that out there, and it happens the weekend, like right before this happened. A lot of people saying, that's odd, isn't it? If you happen to see that picture, I will tell you that either Trump has lost weight, or I don't know. I just feel like they're making him look in a less flattering light, let's say, than, because it's more of like one of those, when you go to the fair or you go to Hershey, PA, and you have somebody who's like making fun of you and making your nose bigger. You know what I mean? It's one of those drawings. So, of course, it's not going to be flattering. 855-839-1210, the number to call. Let's get to, this is Brian in Fairmount. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Dawn, I wanted to pick up on what you just said about words being incendiary. I'll tune into Bill Maher's show just to see if he ever has a counterpoint, a guest that actually can, argue the other side, which rarely happens. But this Friday night's show, I was taken aback. He actually used the word Trump is a monster 2 times in this Friday night's broadcast. And when I heard that, I just thought to myself, what do people think, that has to be done with a monster?
Right.
You have to extinguish it. And I thought for this being broadcast on a nationally televised show by the moderator using the word monster, to me, this is like yelling fire in a movie theater. I think he should be definitely held to account for those words.
Thank you. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That, on one hand, the campaign ads right now for Kamala Harris, some of them are comical, that they certainly aim to add to the humor, maybe of the laugh or things of that nature. Or they're looking to the policy, the contradictions, right? That on one hand, when she was running for president, this is what she said, and now this is the new rhetoric that she's saying. And so they give you the before and after. But I can't, and maybe you help me out. I cannot name a time when they've said that this individual is dangerous, a monster, evil, Hitler. Because think about it, to your very point. I mean, it's different to poke fun, use campaign humor, but it's another thing to say that somebody is a danger to our nation, a danger to democracy. Even the way they say it, it's just like, really? That's all you've got? And so for me, for most of you, you probably think, well, that's all they've got, right? Is to say, well, you're the boogeyman. You're scary because they can't talk about the issues. They can't mention the fact that, he's running against an incumbent who should be able to say, hey, reelect me because, hey, look, isn't your life better? Look at all my great policies. America is flourishing, right? They can't say all that because it's not with their horrific policies. And so what do they have to do? They have to scare you. They have to lie to you. And so to me personally, I just think you're exactly right. And it's not just Bill Maher who, but look, we all believe in the First Amendment. We all believe in free speech. But at what point do we say, to the mainstream media, to especially these political ads? I mean, am I the only one who's just sick of being bombarded with these ads that essentially, to your point, are calling him a danger to democracy? You
Dawn,
tell me.
Just real quick, Dawn.
Yeah.
To use those words pre-July when he was actually, he had his post being assassinated. That's one thing. But post that happening in 2024, that's unconscionable because there's people out there that hear that, and then based upon what you said that this man said is that this is a fight for democracy. Those words from a Hollywood star, they can have an influence on people who are not all right. So I think he should definitely be held accountable. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Appreciate you, Brian. Does anybody disagree? I mean, I agree with what Brian says, and I've been saying it for a while now, that the media is complicit. How many times have I said that? That the media should be held to a higher standard. And I would just like them to just take it down a notch. But moving forward, you'll hear from, especially on MSNBC, I think they're the worst. And you'll hear right the same day, hours after this reported apparent assassination attempt, that's the way we're supposed to say it, MSNBC, they were already out there saying things that I feel were just inappropriate, were maybe not shocking to you, but not professional. By the way, President Joe Biden, who recently went to Pennsylvania and did wear the Trump hat, which I get a kick out of, but President Joe Biden is saying today that the Secret Service, quote, needs more help. That's the quote here, and is saying that, this after Trump was obviously targeted, but he said, one thing I want to make clear, the Secret Service needs more help. I think Congress should respond to their need. That from just this morning, Philadelphia, as I should say, the president is headed here to Philadelphia. So, I mean, it's loud. We'll turn that around for you because this just happened. It's breaking news that Biden, is outside. He's about to get on the plane to come here to Philadelphia. And he says the main thing, thank God he says the president's okay. He didn't say former president. He said, thank God the president's okay. And then he goes on to say, I think Congress is going to respond. We'll get that for you and turn that around for you. But that's appropriate. I'm glad that he's saying that. So your thoughts on all of this today, fast-breaking developments, and we'll get more with the information we can glean as this suspect is in court. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We'll take a quick break and get your thoughts, give you some more updates. Be right back.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Sarah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Nick.
Thank you so much for the cookies. Doctor, if you want to narrate, I'm going to take a bite.
Get a cookie.
Trump 2024, baby. And by the way, the Kamala ones that are blue that nobody wants to buy, they taste the same. It's just different color. Very good cookie. I'm going to go, because there's no perfect score. It's like figure skating, right? You can't give it a 10 out of 10. 8.7.
Wow.
Very good cookie. Good. So there you go. I'm going to swallow the rest of this cookie and we'll take some calls. Let somebody else talk for a little bit.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
The most important part of your financial future is the firm you choose. You see, all financial firms are not the same. Traditional firms that sell securities can't guarantee income,
and are vulnerable to bankruptcies, market losses, capital gains taxes, and ongoing fees. But the exclusive crash-proof retirement system continues to protect over 5,000 clients from market losses and bankruptcies and provides guaranteed tax-favored income with the potential for double-digit interest returns with no fees whatsoever. Our one-of-a-kind proprietary system continues to protect billions of dollars in assets. Are you in or near retirement? There's only one crash-proof retirement for the American retiree. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien. Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Bob Casey, a familiar name, but ask yourself, what's he done for you and your family? In his 18th year in Washington, what's Bob Casey got to show for it? He made sure COVID relief checks could go to convicted felons. You heard that right. Bob Casey made sure COVID checks went to convicted felons. When reasonable people tried to stop murderers and rapists from getting checks, Casey voted no. Even the Boston Marathon bomber ended up with a big fat check. Casey voted the party line instead of using some common sense. And with families struggling to pay the bills, Casey had this to say about throwing around their tax dollars.
Go big or go home.
Bob Casey went big. He botched it. And it's time for him to finally go home. Bob Casey is wrong for Pennsylvania. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Our friend Judith Krupnik of Cherry Hill Volvo is the ZOA's Pillar of the Community Award recipient. A leading businesswoman and philanthropist, she's incredibly deserving of this honor. Congratulations. The ZOA's Night of Appreciation is Wednesday. Learn more at philly.zoa.org. This Saturday morning at 10, tune into a special edition of Your Radio Doctor with Dr. Marianne Ritchie and find out about alcohol use disorder, plus all the latest news and information about your health and wellness. Don't miss Your Radio Doctor Saturday morning at 10.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
So Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro kicked off Kamala Harris's campaign fighting for your reproductive freedom. The Freedom Tour. It's a bus tour. He was in Old City yesterday, Josh Shapiro was, criticizing former President Donald Trump's record, he says, on reproductive rights, record on abortion, he says, that the western part of the state has seen an influx of women seeking, quote, basic health care. This from current Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. So I guess this is his niche. He's fighting for your reproductive freedom, and he's on a bus tour doing this. He says he made clear that our doors are open in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for women across all of these United States. Here's the thing that's really disingenuous. This issue, as far as abortion, even when they say a national ban or a national whatever, would have to go through Congress, and they would have to do an amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. So it's no longer up to the executive branch. It's no longer up to the president of the United States of America, right? That's what's so important here to talk about. It's not a presidential issue. It's not, as far as the abortion issue, because the abortion issue is a states' rights issue. And why? Because nowhere in the Constitution of the United States of America are the words talking about an abortion, unless they rewrite it. They could do an amendment in Congress. And by the way, Democrats multiple times, even over the past decade, and even recently, have had both the House and Senate. Why didn't they do it? Why didn't they put through a constitutional amendment and amend the Constitution? I'm not saying I want this, but I'm saying, why didn't they do it? You know why? Because they don't want it. Because they want to rev people up. They don't want to fix any issues of reproductive rights. They don't want to give out free birth control. I've long said, especially with teenage girls or young women especially, Trump ought to come out and say, not only am I going to not tax your tips, I'm not going to tax your overtime, not going to tax your Social Security, which is what Trump has said, right? He said he is for not taxing Social Security, which would be fantastic. Trump has said he is for and will push Congress for not taxing your tips or your overtime. What if Trump came out and said, yeah, I think you should get birth control for free. It's been around for, nearly 60 years as far as the pill. Get it for free. Plan B, yeah, why isn't it $5? Why is it $50 a shot? They would lose their minds if he did something like that. See, they want to campaign on it. And quite frankly, both sides know that it is such an emotional issue that they want to campaign fundraise. This is how career politicians play all of us on both sides. They raise a ton of money. It's called the low-hanging fruit for career politicians, you see. So if they don't have the abortion issue, what do they have? It's one of the biggest issues where look it up. Look how much money they raise, both pro-life, pro-choice. Those are the terms they use. They're not incentivized to solve the problem, you see. But what Republicans need to get used to is coming out and saying this is no longer a national election issue because it's not up to the president. It's not up to the executive branch. So if Congress wants to amend the Constitution, then that's a different game plan. But as of right now, it is a states' rights issue. Boom, there it is. And we've talked a lot about how Democrats were wise to put abortion on the ballot in places like Arizona, across the country. It's on in Florida too, but it's on in Arizona. That could tip the balance of things, right? But Shapiro, I don't know what kind of a crowd he got, but he is saying that there's a dramatic increase where thousands of women coming from West Virginia and Ohio are coming here for basic health care. That's what he's telling the crowd. Now, if I'm in the crowd, I'm like, really? So somebody from another place can come here and get free health care? And we, the Pennsylvania taxpayers, are paying for that? How does that work? What kind of health care? And are any of these individuals non-citizens? I would like to know that as well. So I don't see those questions being asked. But the November 5th election will be the first presidential contest since, as you know, the U.S. Supreme Court had overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, states across the country enacting many laws on both sides. Here in Pennsylvania, nothing has changed. It's the same. But what the Inquirer reports, and I'm going to quote, states across the country enacted abortion bans. That's how the Inquirer has listed it. So have they certainly tried to detail their statewide abortion rules and their laws? Yes, they have. How will that play out at the statewide level? We're about to find out. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. We'll talk about all of this, and since we're talking about, reproductive rights, we'll talk about the latest survey, official survey that says less and less young people want to start a family. Why? Because of tough financial times. That's a headline I'll bring forth. 855-839-1210. I want to talk about my kitchen. It's that time of year where you're making more. I made a wonderful beef chili yesterday. You're baking more, especially the evenings, and the mornings are cooler. So you think about your kitchen, entertaining, right? Family gatherings. Where does everybody end up? The kitchen. And when it comes to your kitchen or your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has been building a reputation for transforming kitchens with such precision, professionalism, such care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes, storage solutions, Kitchen Magic gets the job done and fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without all the hassle. Trust the name your neighbors have relied on for so many decades, Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation, kitchenmagic.com. Let's cook up something extraordinary. kitchenmagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, Saturday, October 26th. It's the story of Philadelphia sports put to music.
He does a lot of parodies of different songs to see it all come together, which is awesome. And then the whole family and his daughter. The Carson Wentz hate definitely resonated.
And I love the Frank Sinatra guy, and I thought the drummer was fabulous. Go Joe, go Birds. It was awesome.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, Saturday, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-224-8517. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now, 800-224-8517.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-224-8517. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-224-8517, or go to oxcarcare.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
President Joe Biden speaking out. It appears President Biden is calling for Congress to increase the bolster the security for Trump. That's what it sounds like. You be the judge. Let's listen in as within the past, just this morning, Biden speaking out before he heads from Delaware right here to Philadelphia. Listen in. Okay, so I know it's tough to hear because he's obviously, it's a lot of noise. He's outside the press pool, saying, do you have a reaction? So he says the first thing, thank God the president is okay. Then he goes on to say that the Secret Service needs help and he's calling on Congress to make that happen, something to that effect. So that's President Biden this morning. We'll see how soon this happens. I know that Speaker Mike Johnson was speaking out this morning. He was on Fox and Friends, as I had looked up. He was, calling for more Secret Service and to treat him, in essence, like he's a current president, to give him that security in the wake of what appeared, it sure looks by all accounts like a second assassination attempt. Oh my goodness, your reaction to that. In a moment, we'll get to Melania Trump. She had released a video. It's about a minute long where she had done this on Saturday, by the way. So let's listen in. This is former First Lady Melania Trump.
Imagine my privacy would be invaded by the government here in America. The FBI raided my home in Florida and searched through my personal belongings. This is not just my story. It serves as a warning to all Americans. A reminder that our freedom and rights must be respected.
And so Melania Trump saying that she feels obviously disrespected and serves as a warning to all Americans, a reminder our freedom and rights must be respected. So her husband, former President Trump, by the way, is reportedly planning to sue the Justice Department. I had reported this previously. I don't have the court documents where they have filed it, but reportedly they're preparing the suit. They want to sue the Justice Department for $100 million in damages over the government's unprecedented 2022 raid on his Mar-a-Lago property, his home. This is a private residence of a former president of the United States of America. We've never seen that in our entire history, right? And ironically, the raid was on Mar-a-Lago, on the property there in Palm Beach, Florida, pretty close to where this latest attempted assassination happened. And so lawyers arguing it was done with clear intent to engage in political persecution. And as you well know, there are many committees in the House right now investigating all of this. But the shooting task force, the so-called, attempted assassination task force that we've talked about in the House, they're raising new questions this morning. All of this swirling as it's reportedly a close call for former President Donald J. Trump. Your take and your reaction this morning as we learn more and as that alleged assailant, makes his first appearance this morning in court. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. But, this is a situation where reportedly Trump is blaming the Biden-Harris team for the rhetoric in the campaign for this latest assassination attempt. And that's exactly what some of you have been calling in to talk about. And so, you think about this happening. Former President Trump this morning saying that President Biden and Vice President Harris, their rhetoric is what's causing him to be shot at. And this is within less than 24 hours. But Trump reportedly spoke exclusively with Fox News Digital. I don't know. I didn't see that he called into Fox and Friends, or was this one of their digital shows? I don't know yet. But apparently he did give them a comment just this morning. And maybe it was to Hannity. I don't know, because I'm not sure who he gave the comment to. But he reportedly is blaming their campaign rhetoric and saying that this guy acted on it. Here's the quote from Trump. Their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at when I am the one who is going to save the country. And they are the ones that are destroying the country, both from the inside and out. They are the opposite. They are the people that want to destroy our country. And then he added, it is called the enemy from within. They are the real threat. So that's the quote here. I know that Mike Johnson, House Speaker, happened to be there to meet with Trump with his wife and had posted, and I reposted. But Speaker Johnson was speaking out this morning, talking about his experience, what he saw, and was grateful that, nobody was injured. And kudos to those in law enforcement who were able to spot that butt of a rifle and then, able to make that arrest. And also, I should point out, we haven't talked much about it this morning, that there was a witness who was there at the golf course and saw this guy and thought he was a suspicious guy, and I believe snapped a photo of him, but was able to put that out and got the license plate number. And thanks to that witness, who was a quick-thinking witness, that was in part how they were able to so quickly arrest this guy. They actually got the witness. Once they got the suspect in custody, they took the witness, in a vehicle and from across the way. Say, can you identify the person on the scene? And he ID'd him. So, yep, that's the guy who I saw fleeing the scene. So that's another one that was, I think we should say thank you to that observant individual who got the license plate, helped with the quick arrest. So your thoughts on this as we come into a Monday morning? I thought I was going to start the day talking about September 16th, mail-in ballots, but instead we're leading today with another attempt on the life of former President Donald J. Trump. And again, Ryan Ruth, who is the accused suspect, the so-called wannabe assassin, in court this morning, appearing to be shackled in that court as prosecutors make their case to keep him behind bars, not allow him to make bail. And we're told that he currently lives in Hawaii, has faced dozens of run-ins with police stretching back to at least the 1990s. And one of the quotes that has gone viral that this suspect put out there has made comments such as, democracy is on the ballot, that we cannot lose. And so what does that do? 855-839-1210. Let's get to, how about Kevin in Bucks County? Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Dawn. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Great. Before I get started, don't forget, take my daughter, you and Lair Bear, take my daughter out. She's a student at Chestnut Hill. You owe her a day so she knows the neighborhood. She's studying forensic chemistry there.
That's awesome.
So,
smart
full
kid.
Full ride. So, okay, you had mentioned about 10 minutes ago that Congress had the power to do the national ban on abortion. However, it's actually, you need to convene a convention of the states to create an amendment. the states have to get together and they have to collude and
With Congress,
it's out of
though.
Congress's hands.
It's completely out of Congress's hands?
Yeah, to create an amendment, you have to convene a convention of the states.
So,
and the states get together and do that.
Here's the thing, Kevin, whether or not, no matter what, it's never going to happen.
Oh, no.
It's
Agreed.
never going to happen.
I just wanted to correct the political process.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I do have one that DJT should do, but I'm not going to spill the beans yet because it would blow people would lose their stuff, if you know what I mean. Before he gets elected. If he were to mention it as he's running, he wouldn't win.
I thought this went down to Congress when 2/3 of both houses should deem it necessary could propose an amendment to the Constitution. That's what I thought.
It's a convention of the states. That's all I remember is the process.
But it's
possible.
But it's 2/3 of both the House and the Senate, which involves Congress. So I think we're saying the same thing, just in a different way. But either way you look at it, it's never going to happen.
Right. Agreed. Agreed.
And Kevin, they don't want it. The career politician shudders at the thought that we would have any issue solved, especially the abortion issue, right? Because if they could solve the issue, because they don't care about solving the issue. Look at all these issues that we have to deal with decade after decade. It doesn't behoove them. They're not incentivized because they're career politicians. And you have all these new people in Congress. They've never even really held a regular job. And I think part of this just makes the case, in my opinion, that we really need people who we need term limits across the board. I mean, that's part of this.
You're jumping the gun, my thought. Exactly. Don't spill that yet. That's my next proposal for him when he becomes president, because I have a great idea for his State of the Union address, but that means him cursing and disbanding the FCC first to call all the members of Congress a certain F word. And waving his finger left to right to all you got, giving you notice.
It's not a dirty word.
Said, you just spilled my beans. I was, it's baby steps.
Kevin, thank you. We love you. And Kevin's the one who set up, GregStockerSucks.com. And Greg doesn't really suck. He just, fundraises off of it. But let's get to Article 5. That's really Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes. Whoosh, that's a lot, right? But that's what I'm talking about. It would take 2/3 of both houses, in other words, the Senate and the House, to put this thing through with the legislature. And they're just not incentivized to do it. They're not going to do it. They don't want it. They don't want to solve it. They just want to argue over it and fundraise. That's the bottom line here. So I think Kevin and I were both saying the same thing. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. We'll get into other news of the day. Just one more call. This is, should we get to Pete? Hey, Pete.
Hey, Dawn, it's Pete Smith. How you doing?
Good. Pete Smith. I'm good.
Dawn, I have to eat crow. Your team destroyed Father Judge last Friday.
Friday before last.
That's true.
Friday before last.
Dawn, I wanted to call, just bring maybe a little bit of brightness to the day after the events of yesterday. I finished my sock drive, and I was able to present to Declan Socks for the Streets 1,562 pair of socks.
Congratulations!
Thanks,
is
Dawn.
awesome.
Appreciate you.
Oh, you're a good guy, and that's just it. We need to hear more about some good news, some solutions. So, Pete Smith, thank you so much for giving us that update for sure. Yeah, and, that's the other thing, that if I talk about, Friday Night Football and just weave this in, I'll just say this to you, that, the kids were talking about, we went to, we're playing Northeast High School, and they did have, unfortunately, they had threats before. There were fights that broke out. They did have some shots fired last year. And so, just make sure if anybody says anything, just you want to de-escalate. So these are teenage boys being told how to de-escalate by the football coach. So all of our sons came home and talked about it. And then we went in. We had to do, they had full security guards everywhere, and they were looking in our pocketbooks. We had to go through metal detection and got inside. It was an incredible Friday night under this moon that just was this beautiful half moon that was, you looked like it was so low hanging. And you know what? These kids got out there, and I think they were nervous because they had been told all of this. Afterwards, my son David says, you know what? We were told, all this stuff and be ready to de-escalate. He said, whatever's going on with these guys that we played from Northeast High School, I feel badly for them because it was never them. These were great guys. And Mom, I hope we play them again because they were a tough team. They were a little bit smaller and a little bit younger, but they're really fast, and they were great guys. And my heart was so warmed by that because, you just realized that there's a lot of noise, right? There's a lot going on. All these kids want to do is just play some football. And by the way, not for nothing, but their cheerleaders, they must have had 24 cheerleaders who were fantastic. We don't have cheerleaders. I don't know why. But just great people. And the team got out there on the field. They gave it their all. My son's team, GA, did win, but it was a close game. They were well matched, and I love the fact that they went out there and they showed respect for one another. And I think both sides felt the same way. Maybe they were a little nervous that there's a fight's going to break out, and maybe they're going to tell us we can't play football. And that's really what it's all about, is creating this estuary where kids can do what they want to do, whether it's school, whether it's learning, whether it's sports. They should be allowed to be kids and to have fun in high school and to play their sports and so on. It was a great Friday night, and I loved it. And I'm really thankful that these, they had the talk, they had the conversation. I'm sure Northeast too, because they've been through it, and they've probably felt like, are they going to shut football down? Because we hear this all the time, that these football programs are being shut down. But kudos to Northeast High School, to your coach, to your team, to the community there. I just loved it. And I think all of us just felt so grateful that we could come together. And like I say, I hope that our teams can come together once again. That's what it's all about. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
High school football is back. High school football is back. And so is the Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Join Daryl Dobis, James Bailey, and Matt Dents. Friday nights 10 till midnight. For a rundown of all the big high school games in the region and expert analysis. The Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Friday night at 10. Only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Monday Night Football. Hey, Hey, it's Greg with Kale and Company. What a great NFL weekend. You have another chance to start this season with a big return on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. You can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet on tonight's game, your Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. What am I going with tonight? How about this same game parlay? Saquon Barkley on the over rushing yards. Saquon Barkley for an anytime touchdown, and Jalen Hurts on the over for passing yards. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg. Do it now. FanDuel.com/Greg to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT and the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
So did you see that horrible Time magazine feature with the cover of Trump stuck on the golf course? That's kind of weird that happened days before the alleged or the reported suspected assassination attempt. As far as, one of the headlines this morning, the latest here that's being quoted widely is what I had said before, that Trump has spoken out this morning saying that the man who allegedly tried to assassinate him, he's really blaming the Harris-Biden campaign, that their rhetoric is really triggering people like this and causing me to be shot at. That's the quote. Then we do have this person, the suspect, in a federal courtroom, seen in shackles, hands and feet. He's a shackled guy. And so this is the alleged gunman. They've confiscated the gun. They got the GoPro camera. And we're looking for new information this morning. I only know that additional charges could be filed against him, but there's a detention hearing, so they did set that up, and that's coming up. They set up a couple of hearings and arraignments, and they're coming up in September 23rd. I'm seeing September 30th, and they're saying that Ruth, the suspect, got within 300 to 500 yards. I find it interesting that they're not giving the exact length of distance, because certainly they know that by now, but they're saying he got within 300 to 500 yards of former President Donald J. Trump at a chain link fence on the edge of his Palm Beach course. This is Trump International there in West Palm Beach, and that was just yesterday afternoon. He was armed with this semi-automatic rifle. I know that people are quibbling over what kind of rifle. It's a semi-automatic. He had the scope on there, and, he was way too close, and it's scary. Secret Service agent who was one hole ahead of him, so I think that he was still on I think that Trump was still on the 5th hole, and the Secret Service agent was already on the 6th. That's how they do it. So he was ahead, saw the butt of the rifle poking through the fence, and that's when they went into action. As of right now, I don't hear that the suspect fired upon officers They fired 4 shots. That's what we're hearing. That's what they've told us in the news conference. But we know the suspect took off, was arrested a short time later on I-95. And despite the attempt on Trump's life here in Pennsylvania in July, his security detail is lighter since he is not a sitting president. And that's the quote from Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, who clearly is not happy with that fact and clearly believes that Trump deserves the beefed up security. So all of this, oh my goodness, as we are seeing a lot of flurry as people are looking at this, reacting to it. And, you know, even though for us here at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, you know, we start out early in the morning. So I know that, you know, Greg Stocker, Nick Cale, you know, all of us, Phil Almquist, we were all texting each other back and forth like, ruh-roh, here we go, rearranging things. But maybe for a lot of people, you know, you're just waking up to this morning. So just want to update you on this before we move on as far as what's going on today. There was this other story. There were some other stories of the day, obviously. Here in Philadelphia, we are preparing for the Eagles' home opener. It's exciting as we think about, you know, football season. For me, football season already started because I'm all about, you know, high school football and talking about the Northeast, talking about Northeast High School, talking about Father Judge the weekend before. By the way, when you hear the promos here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and they talk about Matt Dents was our coach and was the coach at Germantown Academy for 10 years. And I just think about those football breakfasts when Matt Dents, our coach, who's now, you know, moving on, doing other things, and still at GA, obviously, is one of our great teachers and still a great role model for our young men, but doing talk radio. I always would say, Coach Dents, you're just made for talk radio, because sometimes he would talk to the guys and the breakfast, you can smell it, and there's Coach Dents, and he's giving those inspirational words, and I'm thinking, just let him eat. You know, let him eat, but he made him hungry for more, right? But yeah, so when you hear Matt Dents, I know him well. He's a great guy, and I hope that you tune in because that's just it. At the high school football level, these young men, they crave those male role models like Matt Dents, and so in many ways they're shaping our young men. And that's what I love about the talks that they gave, I know, to our guys, and I think at Northeast High School. And Sean, who's filling in this week because Dan and Maisie are on vacation this week. But, you know, Sean, you were saying that, in fact, you live not so far from Northeast High School. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm actually not too far from Northeast High School, and I live around that area. So, yeah, I've been hearing reports about that incident, but it's a lot of different speculation that's been going on. So, like, it's really no real true story of what's actually happening.
Yeah, I know that they're investigating multiple, you know, situations and threats, and so I think they're trying to lock that down just to give the kids that safety and the fans and everybody's safety so that they can just, you know, play ball. But,
yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, like, I know that a lot of our kids just want to go out and have a great time and just play football, and they want to feel safe too. You know, you want to go to a game, have fun, and then be able to go home safely after the game.
And that's the shame of it, that I think, unfortunately, you know, when the news coverage hits, sometimes I think people who maybe don't know what's going on, don't live in the city, don't understand that we're talking about a tiny percentage of a bad element.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
And so I'm looking at, you know, all these young men on the field playing, and what they feared, according to my son, what all of them fear is that they're going to be their sport's going to be canceled in the name of, we can't have the violence. And so I think in a way, it galvanized both teams to say, hey, we're both on the same side of this. We just want to play. We just want to play some football.
Absolutely. Like, you can't judge your outside forces of what's going on. I mean, unfortunately, you know, the kids just come out there to play football. They're not promoting anything negative. It's just, unfortunately, the outside forces that's around them that is actually being their fans are the ones that are contributing to the negativity, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's just it. When a district attorney like DA Larry Krasner, for example, when he thinks he's doing the community a favor or accuse alleged perpetrators any favor, I mean, Sean, what would you say because you and I are both Philadelphia residents. Jimmy Kelly grew up here in South Philly, but you and I both currently are parents raising kids in the city of Philadelphia. Do you think that a DA who says, well, we want to give, let's say, juveniles who commit violent crimes instead of charging them as adults, kind of go for something lighter, do you think he's doing all of us a favor?
No, I think sometimes, to me personally, as a Philadelphia resident all my entire life, I grew up as one of those kids that never was in any type of negativity and any type of like issues that are promoting issues to the city. And I feel like those kids never gotten any repercussions for not doing anything. But when you look at the kids that are actually promoting negativity into the city, they got to be held to the full extent. I mean, everyone has their own mind, everyone has their own decision makings, and sometimes they might not be making rational decisions, but they actually have to get consequences. It's a cause and effect for everything. What you do to one can actually have an effect to another. So you got to always be mindful what you're doing. And everyone knows that, like you only got one chance in this life. You got to make the best out of it. Are you going to promote negative or are you going to be positive?
Well said. Beautifully said. So we'll get your thoughts, 855-839-1210, right around the corner.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A tropical system will bring clouds and some showers to the Delaware Valley this week. Today, partly sunny, a bit cooler with a high around 79. For tonight, mostly cloudy with a low 64. And for Tuesday, still dry, mostly cloudy, a little bit more humid with a high 79.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Following is a paid commercial message.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
Instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Is your kitchen or bathroom in need of a makeover?
It's time to transform your home into a personal oasis with Emmons Remodeling.
Our expert team specializes in kitchen and bathroom renovations, creating beautiful, functional spaces you and your family will love. We handle everything from design to installation.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Tonight, 7:40 Phillies Brewers game can be heard on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Phillies are on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tonight.
Our friend Judith Krupnik of Cherry Hill Volvo is the ZOA's Pillar of the Community Award recipient. A leading businesswoman and philanthropist, she's incredibly deserving of this honor. Congratulations. The ZOA's Night of Appreciation is Wednesday. Learn more at philly.zoa.org.
Do you have shoeboxes full of photos? Today only, radio listeners get VIP access to the new Photo Legacy Box. Get your family's photos professionally scanned for as low as 7 cents, which is 76% less than what other brands charge. As the world's largest digitizer, you know you can trust Legacy Box to digitize your entire collection of 4x6 photos. Everything from the embarrassing haircut you had in the 90s to photos of your great-grandma's wedding. Visit legacybox.com/value to get 200 photos scanned starting at just $19.95. Oh, and don't forget, LegacyBox also digitizes over 15 other types of analog media, so you can get your favorite memories on VHS or Grandpa's film reels from the 40s digitized too. Take advantage of this exclusive offer on the new Photo Legacy Box today and preserve your past for as low as 7 cents. Go to legacybox.com/value. That's legacybox.com/value.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Local headlines as President Joe Biden is headed from Delaware to Philadelphia. He's scheduled to be here between 1 and 4. So he's speaking at a local convention for historically black colleges. But the deal here is at the motorcade, think about traffic, and then you think about people tailgating for our home opener with the Eagles. So just you want to leave plenty of time and put your patience cap on, as my mom would always say. Speaking of Delaware, word that a person has died as a tractor and a school bus crashed along Delaware's Route 13. We're watching that developing story. And then the story, and I had reported something about this last week with Delaware, but the Delaware beaches have closed due to medical waste on shore. So that's a story that's impacting Delawareans for sure this morning. 855-839-1210 as we move through the day and think about all the breaking news locally, nationally. Let's get to our friend Frank, who needs no introduction in South Philadelphia. Hey, Frank, good morning.
Buongiorno, Dawn. How are you doing today?
Buongiorno. Doing great. Happy Monday.
Same to you. Listen, Dawn, I'd like to discuss I said this before on air in regards to the attempt assassination of President Trump. Mm-hmm. The first attempt assassination was that a lot of doors, and this is my opinion, a lot of doors that the Secret Service and the FBI left a lot of doors deliberately left open. If not, they would have had people on top of that roof. And the second attempt that just happened yesterday is right at his home turf, is what I call his turf, meaning the golf course. Someone or some country or some countries are looking to turn around and take President Trump out because they really don't want him in there. He's too good. He's world-wise, he's street-wise, and he's also book-wise. And it could be the countries like China, North Korea, the Middle East, one of the countries in the Middle East, or it could possibly in Washington D.C. Somebody in Washington D.C. is allowing to leave the doors open. Now, this individual that just got caught yesterday in his turf in the golf course, mm-hmm. I don't have too much information or what I can assess on. But President Trump, if his campaign is listening, they should turn around and hire private security to be in charge and with the Secret Service, because someone is going to. I hope it doesn't happen. There may be a third attempt on it because they're looking for them to turn around and have the second attempt yesterday. It looks like the third attempt might come. God forbid. I know. I hope it never happens, but no individual. I hope it never happens. But it seems like that somebody wants him out of this presidential election.
Yeah, it's so true. Frank, words of wisdom. Thank you, my friend. Have a blessed Monday. Yet Trump, within the past hour on his Truth Social, put out all caps, fight, 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 and then DonaldJTrump.com. So Trump Vance 2024 put that out there on Truth Social. So we're looking at that, looking at Trump speaking out this morning. And by the way, thanking everyone for your concern, for your well wishes, for your prayers. It was certainly an interesting day. And he goes through in that he ends by saying the job done was absolutely outstanding. He's speaking about the Secret Service guys who immediately saw this and got him out of harm's way. I am very proud to be an American. That statement from Donald J. Trump. So he's putting out some word there, talking about it. We'll continue to follow it for sure. 855-839-1210. We did discern, a few details about this suspect who's identified as Ryan Ruth, 58 years old, and he could face, the latest word is that he could face up to 15 years behind bars. During the hearing, we're told that Ruth gave routine information to court officials as to his work status, to his income. He spoke in a soft voice. This is according to them looking up, they're just releasing some of what happened in court. According to the court records here, he was working and making around $3,000 a month, saying he has zero in savings, no real assets, no real estate, aside from 2 trucks worth about $1,000, both located in Hawaii. The suspect says he has a 25-year-old son who he sometimes supports, and he was that's what he said in court. He was taken into custody, as I've said, yesterday after being stopped on the highway following the shooting incident and following the fact that a witness on the golf course there was able to tie him to, seeing him there and then seeing him flee. So that was according to law enforcement there. So the word was that, they're trying to keep him behind bars, and they will at this point. He will remain behind bars until his next hearing, which he has 2 hearings upcoming within the next couple of weeks. And I should point out to you that court records show that this guy has more than 100 criminal counts filed against him in North Carolina previously, as well as he has traveled to Ukraine and was trying to recruit people to fight in support of Ukraine. So seems to be quite politically activated, if you will. So we'll get to all of this as we think about now President Joe Biden coming to Philadelphia. Just a heads up, within the next about an hour and 15 minutes, he's speaking in Philadelphia at this national HBCU, Historically Black College University, week-long conference. But with him speaking here, and by the way, Kamala Harris will be here tomorrow, just a heads up on that one. And she'll be speaking with NPR, Black journalists. She'll be doing a Q&A, much like Trump did a couple weeks ago. But he's going to arrive at Philadelphia International Airport within the next hour and 15 minutes, and then depart, we're told, by 4 p.m. And that's right before, obviously, the Eagles, the home game tonight is later than that. But I think for those trying to get here a little early, sneak out of work, get in early for the tailgate, just you want to plan accordingly. We'll take a quick break. I'm Dawn Stensland. Really appreciate you on this Monday morning, September 16th. A lot developing this week. I'll go through what to expect this week. And remember, this week we're supposed to get the word that the Fed is expected to cut rates by at least 0.25 percentage rate, maybe by 0.5 percentage rate. We'll see. But we'll talk a little bit about economic news and some of the stories locally, nationally, what's developing, what's cooking. Be right back.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Sarah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Nick.
Thank you so much for the cookies. Doctor, if you want to narrate, I'm going to take a bite.
Get a cookie.
Trump 2024, baby. And by the way, the Kamala ones that are blue that nobody wants to buy, they taste the same. It's just different color. Very good cookie. I'm going to go, because there's no perfect score. It's like figure skating, right? You can't give it a 10 out of 10. 8.7.
Wow.
Very good cookie. Good. So there you go. I'm going to swallow the rest of this cookie, and we'll take some calls. Let somebody else talk for a little bit.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Retired minister Sam Lepore believes you practice what you preach. Phil Cannella and Joanne Small practice what they preach. They too are protected by the exclusive crash-proof retirement system.
You know, if you're talking about something in your life that you want to share with somebody else, if you're not doing it yourself, then you're a fake. And Phil is not a fake. He's crash-proofed. I mean, he invests in his own crash-proof retirement system. And I said, you know, that gives you joy. And you can see it in his face. Crash-proof retirement has really helped me to have joy. I'm so excited about it that I cannot stop telling people about it. I was looking at the market and seeing 500 points drop. I mean, that's crash. I'm really lucky to be crash-proof.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on Tuesday, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Bob Casey, a familiar name, but ask yourself, what's he done for you and your family? In his 18th year in Washington, what's Bob Casey got to show for it? He made sure COVID relief checks could go to convicted felons. You heard that right. Bob Casey made sure COVID checks went to convicted felons. When reasonable people tried to stop murderers and rapists from getting checks, Casey voted no. Even the Boston Marathon bomber ended up with a big fat check. Casey voted the party line instead of using some common sense. And with families struggling to pay the bills, Casey had this to say about throwing around their tax dollars.
Go big or go home.
Bob Casey went big. He botched it. And it's time for him to finally go home. Bob Casey is wrong for Pennsylvania. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
The back-to-school savings event is here at Hessert Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2024 Trax 2RS at $298 for 36 months. Or electrify your commute in a 2024 Equinox LS at $249 for 24 months. Enjoy top-rated customer service and unbeatable deals. Don't wait. These offers won't last. Experience the difference at Hessert Chevrolet, Philadelphia's trusted Chevy dealer. Check us out at HessertChevy.com. Call 267-343-9094 for details.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano for my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. His state-of-the-art facility makes your dentistry as easy as can be. Recently, they had a permanent tooth put in. And you know how it is. In the past, you bite down, it's too high. It's always too high. The back and forth getting it just right. Well, not this time. With Dr. Bentz, it fit perfectly the first time. Call the Bentz Dental Group now, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com, 610-272-6949.
This Saturday morning at 10, tune into a special edition of Your Radio Doctor with Dr. Marianne Ritchie and find out about alcohol use disorder, plus all the latest news and information about your health and wellness. Don't miss Your Radio Doctor Saturday morning at 10. Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
You know, we're getting all these updates on the shackled would-be Trump assassins. First court appearance this morning. Secret Service acting chief is there in West Palm to investigate the plot against Trump. What I will say is that I'm looking, because I always check the media, the stations, the local stations there in West Palm Beach are not using the wording that they're using nationally. They're saying that it was an assassination attempt. They're not saying apparent, because that was something that still is happening here, where if you look at the national media, they're saying an apparent assassination attempt. They've dropped that in their local reporting there in West Palm. I was just trying to see, how are they reporting this? They're not calling it, as I look at their local stations there, they're just saying assassination attempt. So I just always give you the little media take, how they're covering it, because they have their local sources at the sheriff's level. So as we learn more about what's going on here and all the news conferences, there's a lot happening this morning. But I want to just take you through another story, and that is this morning. And this makes me sad when I read this, that 1/4, or nearly 1/4 of all young people are surveyed saying that they do not plan to have children. The reason being financial trouble. That they feel that with their state of where they are financially with the economy, that they say that they're concerned about bringing children into the world, that they can't afford it. And this is a huge chunk of our country. As you think about millennials and the next generations. So millennials, the oldest millennials, I guess, are in their early 40s. And then you have the Gen, what's the next one? Gen Z? Is that the next one? So the next two generations, they're saying that when it comes to thinking about having kids, they just can't afford it. It's just financially can't do it. This is the Consumer Spending and Saving Index from Mass Mutual. And they say that they found that nearly a quarter, 23% of millennials, and yes, Gen Z, who do not have children right now, say they are not planning to become parents. And they're not saying, oh, I don't want to have kids. I never. These individuals wanted to have kids at some point, wish they could have kids. That's what I'm discerning from this. But that they're saying they really don't feel they can responsibly become parents because of financial tough times, a tough economy. How sad is that? 31% of millennials and Gen Z respondents who said they don't plan on becoming parents attributed it to the state of the social and political world and the way that our country is right now as far as the economy. 40% say they can't have children at the expense of their financial freedom because of all the financial, it's too stressful of a time to afford anything. How sad is that? I mean, I think of, Sean is a young dad, right? Sean, when did you have your little girl? I'm going to get all personal. I'm going to get up all in your business, Sean. Since Sean's...
I had my daughter at the age of 22, so I was a pretty young guy. And I'm 28 right now. So,
okay. So she's
it was
sick.
definitely a
tough
situation getting myself adjusted to it while being in college and being a dad in my junior year. So, I had to go through schooling for 2 years for the process while still trying to be a father. The cost of living was very, very hard. It was difficult. I understand how a lot of people my age are feeling, discouraged on having children because, it was really difficult. It's been nights that you didn't have really that much money and things like that, not even really have stuff to pay for your child. And especially if you're trying to get yourself to the next level, it's definitely a cost. It's a major cost that hurts you at the moments that can stop you sometimes and keep you like in a debate, like one of those tough little situations where you just can't really move forward and progress and stuff like that. It discourages you.
But you can't imagine life. You guys can't imagine life without your daughter.
Absolutely.
At this point.
Now, one thing I can say is like having a child, it motivated me, it pushed me, I was able to finish school and I was able to, live out my dreams and being in radio and everything like that. So, it's definitely motivating, but when it comes down to the financial aspects, it really can be like, hard and really, really tough.
Yeah. It makes you grow up real fast. Right?
Yeah, I had grown up real fast. Like, you know, being 22 as a young dad, it was a lot of responsibilities that I had to quickly adjust it. But I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful story, and that's just it. You know, we need to fix this economy so that people, you know, want to have kids, want to have a family, want to have their life, right? That makes me sad. I will say that the fact that, and I think people worry about even groceries right now because groceries are so expensive.
Yeah, like groceries, something as small as personal hygienes. Like I know when I go to the market and want to get like something like deodorant is $9.
Yeah, that's insane. My sons, but that's something I'm not going to, with teenage boys, let me tell you something, that's an area I'm not going to skimp. Right? Like
yeah,
in the
I
back,
get the best one. I get Dove deodorant, and that's
Ooh,
$9. That's a lot of money.
That's crazy. $9. I know. These guys, I get in my minivan this morning to drive to work, and I'm like, what is that smell? And I realize David left his gear, which now I have to drop off. He left, like, from Friday, the football gear. You know what I mean? Like the pads and everything and the helmet. I'm like, what is that smell? Something died in my vehicle. No. So speaking of growing up, you know what I mean? I was like, come on now, you got to unload that. I would have washed it. Man, you can't $9 for deodorant, but I'll pay any price. Please, I needed some spray. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Thanks for getting personal there, Sean. Really appreciate it. I mean, beautiful family, and that's just it. I know that sometimes people will say, well, different generations, people didn't have much, didn't think of that. But I simply think at this point it's so expensive even to buy groceries that people worry about, you know, feeding a family, and that is responsible. 855-839-1210. We got to go to the Dom Show. Dom Giordano with a busy Monday show.
Well, thanks, Dawn. Scott Presler's here with some huge numbers, including mail-in ballot numbers in the rural counties, beating Democrats, and an old friend who's been brought out of retirement to be Mr. Election Integrity in all places, Philadelphia. This guy can do it, too. We have all that today.
Dom Show is right now.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. Shed that summer vacation weight by reaching out to NJ Diet. You will lose a